Welcome back to another episode of Real Estate Stories. Today, we are going to talk about the importance of the clock.
TikTok.
Joining me today, Miss Michelle Cohan.
Hi, everyone.
So, why is the clock so important, Michelle?
Be on time or a bit early, which really calculates of being on time.
Yeah, there's all different flavors of humans in this world, right? We're all programmed differently, you know. And I know that me, I know Mason's the same way. We like to be early for whatever the commitment is. I know if I'm showing a home, I like to be 10 or 15 minutes early, a listing appointment the same way.
Absolutely.
Although I won't knock on the door 15 minutes early, but I like to be there, right? If I go to the dentist tomorrow, I still want to be there a little early. It's just my programming, and that's just a certain thing. But what happens when we set up a whole bunch of tours and our buyer is running late?
It's the domino effect. It's terrible. You're making phone calls, you're late for the next one and the next one and the next one and the next one. So it's a huge problem.
It can be. It's so true. So look, we know that stuff happens, right? We know people get flat tires or they get lost, they hit traffic or they're coming from out of town. All that is absolutely just real life stuff. I know in our schedules, we always try to build cushion in, but I think, I think we should take this opportunity to help people understand that when we're touring homes, and let's say we have 5 homes to show later today, and how that works and what happens if our client is 30 minutes late for the first appointment, right? Through no fault of their own necessarily, or maybe it is. We don't know, right? But what could happen? So please help people understand what we go through to set up those 5 homes and how that might look.
I know that when I send out an itinerary, I literally put the date, the time, the place. So they know that if they're running late, guess what? It's going to back up to an issue. And I'm pretty blunt with that in a very professional way to let them know we've got to be on time. I'm not the only agent showing the home. So then we run into other issues also.
Yeah. So what we have to do so you guys understand is when we go to show a home to you, we have to follow the protocol for that particular listing and schedule it accordingly. And it could be most of them are using the same system called showing time. Most brokerages in our area use a system called showing time. But the specific showing instructions or appointment instructions can be wildly different. So, for instance, home number 1, right? Let's say you had an appointment scheduled for 12 noon. And that particular home, we may be allowed to block an hour, right? We may be confirmed for 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock, right? But it's also important for people to understand the showing instructions for that home may have only allowed us to schedule a 30-minute block. And it's also possible that they may only allow us a 15-minute block. So let's walk through this. Let's say they gave us a 30-minute block, which is extremely common. And we have an appointment window of 12 to 12:30. We tell our client we want to be there at 12. We want to meet there at 12.
Right.
And they show up at 12:25.
All right.
Okay, we could still go, right? But it's also possible another agent with another buyer's knocking on the door at 12:30, right? And we back them up. But when we schedule, we're going to look at the map, right? We're going to try to map out our showings. Sometimes our clients are very focused in a tight geographic area. It could be one town or even one neighborhood. But very often it's multiple towns, multiple neighborhoods, right? And it could be 20 minutes, sometimes 30 minutes or more to the next property. So let's just walk through a hypothetical, right? So this house, we schedule it for 12 to 12:30. The second house is 15 minutes away. So let's go. Let me go. Let me walk through this. This is how I do it. And you probably do it in a different way, but
I do
the
it this
result is
way. You're on the same link.
so so we're going to meet there. So I'm figuring this out, right? We're going to meet there at 12. Okay. Maybe it's going to take 15 or 20 minutes to walk through this house. And then I know the other house is, how far away did I say?
15.
15 minutes away.
Yeah.
So if it takes us 15 minutes to walk through and it's 15 minutes away, so we're going to get at that next house at probably 12:30 ish. Ish. Everything's ish. We have to build cushion in.
Yeah.
And then I go to schedule the second house when I'm setting this up. And I realize that that second house also only has a 30-minute time window that they'll allow us. Okay. So I'm going to schedule that for 12:30 to 1 o'clock. Makes sense. I might get there about 12:30 or 12:40, but I should be good. Now, unfortunately, if our client for that first appointment shows up at 12:25 and we walk through for 15 minutes, now we're at 12:40,
Yeah.
12:45, and now we're driving to the next house.
Yeah. And now
And
you're making
now,
a call.
yeah, and on the way, we're calling the seller's agent saying, "Hey, I think I'm running a little late." We may or may not be able to get that seller's agent on the phone. We may or may not be able to reschedule it. It's just potential domino effect. Now, what happens if they really like house number one and we spend 30 minutes walking through it, right? We don't want to rush anybody. We want everyone to take their time, especially if a home is feeling good, right?
Yeah.
So there's like a lot of that kind of stuff that goes on, right?
It
It
does.
it can be a real mess in the
Yeah.
background when we're running late.
Yeah.
So I'm like you. I tell our clients like, okay, this is our itinerary. Here's what we're going to see. Here's our time frames, and then when we meet, I'll lay it out. I'll print it, and I'll
Yep.
show them. And I'll try to keep us okay, good guys. Just a couple more minutes. Not trying to rush you, but a couple more minutes. We have to get to the next one
Mm.
because look, a house may have a security system which is being disabled remotely for
Right.
our time window. They could be removing the 100-pound German Shepherd for our showing. There's just so many different things that can go on to accommodate our showing that it can't always make the change.
Right.
Yeah. So in order to have the best possible experience, always, please, always,
Be on time.
please always try to be on time or really close to it.
Yeah.
And it's really not about us. It's always about you as a buyer of the house. And we want you to have the best possible experience touring the homes that we've set up. But there are things that are definitely out of our control.
Right.
And interestingly, even if it's a home that appears to be vacant in the photos, number one, it's not always vacant. Those could be older photos from a previous time,
Mhm.
or they could have a friend living there now in between. You never really know for sure. And they don't always, even on a vacant home, they don't always let us tweak the appointment last second,
Right.
right? We do our best, but every home's different. We could have homes that the best home is a 2-hour time window, what we call a go and show, right? I mean, we click and we've got an instant approval. We love that, but there's not a lot of those.
Yeah.
Then we have others that are a go. Anything go and show is always great for us. That means
I
it's
love those.
vacant. Yeah, but they still could give us a really small time
Mhm.
window. Hey, by the way, if you're a real estate agent watching this, change your showing instructions to take out the COVID effect on your showing instructions. Remember with COVID, we could not have overlapping appointments, Michelle, right? We had really small time windows and they would just stack appointments. Hey, if it's a vacant home, listing agent right now, adjust your showing time instructions, allow the overlap. Who cares? People are more relaxed about that now. And I had one last week. It was literally a go. Wait, is it go and show? No, it was a vacant home, vacant investor flip, not a go and show, which is a mistake out of the gate, if you ask me. 15-minute time window.
Easy.
What, dude? Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Right.
You're making it tough to show the house,
Yeah.
right? You know, as a seller's agent, you want to expose that house to as many buyers as possible, and now you're making it tough for a buyer's agent. You know, a 15-minute time window
That's
that
tough.
gets eaten up by a few minutes of traffic. Or hey, I really enjoyed this tour of this house, and we spent some extra time there.
Yeah.
15 minutes gives you no wiggle room at all.
A half an hour should be minimum.
I totally agree. You know, unless there's extenuating circumstances, right? Every home, we're dealing with humans, right? Every home could have something different going on.
I like the way
But
you enunciate that one. Yeah.
humans, right? I just think there's a lot of agents out there that never really or haven't really paid attention to showing instructions since we were instructed to tighten things up and not allow overlaps, which all made sense 3.5 years ago.
Long time.
Uh, I think it's definitely time to pay close attention there as the market has cooled and our emotions regarding COVID certainly have cooled, right? So that's why the clock is important,
That
guys.
is why the clock.
Thank you so much for watching. You can contact us if you're watching on YouTube. All of our information is right down there. Please take a minute and subscribe to our channel. We really appreciate it. We'd love to help you here in South Jersey or anywhere in the continental United States. Michelle, as always, thank you.
My pleasure.
We'll see you guys soon.
Take care.